Hello, I'm Nick Stringer, Director of Regulatory Affairs at the Internet Advertising Bureau, and welcome to this video that will explain a little bit about behavioural advertising and how it works. I'm joined today by Stuart Coleman, Managing Director of European Operations at Audience Science and also Chair of the IAB's Behavioural Targeting Council. What is behavioural advertising? How does it work? And why is it important to the Internet?
Fundamentally, behavioural advertising is about matching users' interest to the advertising that they see. And to kind of give you an example of that, if you're looking to buy a car, you're in market for buying a car, when you go online, you're going to perform certain actions that would suggest you're interested in buying a car. The kind of content you read around product reviews of the particular manufacturer you're interested in, or its competitive set, car searches where you're looking for information about that particular type of car. Those actions would demonstrate or would show that you have an interest in buying a car. Online behavioural advertising is a process where during that kind of period of you looking at that content, a cookie, which is a little piece of code that drops onto your computer and gives you kind of a random ID, records kind of where you go and what you look at. Companies can then come in, advertisers, publishers, networks, etc. can come in and they can collate all that information, all of those cookies, into kind of segments of people that have looked at similar kind of content. So a group of users who have all gone and read a certain number of articles about a particular manufacturer or made a certain type of search. And that group of users are then the perfect audience to serve a car advert to at that moment in time. And I guess to kind of take the internet out of it and give you kind of a real world example of that, I guess it's a bit like saying you've moved to a new area and you and your wife go to the local pub for a drink and you order a beer and a gin and tonic, and you do that over 2 or 3 times over kind of a 2 or 3 week period. At that point, kind of 3 or 4 weeks in, the next time you go in, the barman's going to say, well, clearly I know what you've ordered in the past, would you like a beer and a gin and tonic? Now, that bar person knows nothing about who you are in terms of your name, your address, where you live, anything about you. They just know you're interested in a beer and a gin and tonic because you've had that kind of repetitive behaviour. And you as a consumer, as a customer at that point, that's of value to you. You like that kind of experience.
The practice of behavioural advertising has raised some privacy concerns. What information is actually collected and used? Should people be concerned about this practice? What kind of control do they have over it?
It's absolutely right that consumers should be aware of these practices and aware of what they can do about it. That's fundamental. In terms of what information is collected, it's all anonymous information. It's not interested in who you are, it's interested in what you're interested in. So the kind of information that's collected is all anonymous. It's about kind of where you go and what you read and the context of what you're reading, etc. Information that helps deliver value to you by making the advertising more relevant to you. In terms of where consumers can go to find out more information, the Internet Advertising Bureau themselves have a very, very good resource, youronlinechoices.co.uk, which gives consumers kind of education about what happens, who does it, what they do, etc. And crucially also what they can do about it, how they can go in there and they can, in essence, turn off the technology.
What guidelines have been put in place by businesses, by the industry, to safeguard internet users' privacy?
Again, it's really important that companies within the space respect and contribute to that kind of process. So the Internet Advertising Bureau set up the Behavioural Targeting Council, whose job it was to create what is known as the good practice principles. And those principles look at what is right in this environment, what publishers, what technology companies, etc. should be doing, what is good practice, and it talks about 3 kind of pillars of what is that good practice. It talks about notice, so are we telling consumers that this process is happening? It talks about choice, so are we giving them the opportunity to do something about it? As we mentioned earlier, turning off the technology. And crucially, it talks about education. Are we educating consumers as to why this happens? What value there is to them, what choices they have over it, what value it delivers to the industry that is delivering them the content of interest to them.